Meanwhile, musician Tory Lanez, convicted of shooting rapper Megan Thee Stallion, sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Tory Lanez just realized he must have made the greatest mistake of his life and career as he finally confirms the awful rumors about him. What are the rumors? Just before the sentence was passed, Tory begged the LA Superior Court Judge David Hereford for leniency. For the first time, Tory finally confirmed the awful rumors that he deeply regretted his act by requesting either probation or a minimal prison sentence. He also made it clear that he accepts full responsibility for everything he did wrong on the night of the incident, and that he would change the course of events if he could. In addition, he said Megan was a good friend of his and that he still cares about her. What happened? After a pool party at Kylie Jenner's house on July 12, 2020, Megan Thee Stallion alleged on August 20, 2020 that Tory was the shooter who had shot her in the foot. She's never before named him or anyone else as her shooter in public. Megan claimed in an Instagram live video that Tory's PR was purposefully trying to disseminate misleading information on the incident, which led to her hospitalization and surgery. Yes, Megan replied in the video, "This nigga Tory shot me." On August 8, 2023, nearly 3 years after Megan filed the lawsuit, a judge sentenced Tory to 10 years in jail for the shooting. Before Tory was sentenced for shooting Megan, he initially was freed on $35,000 bail after being booked on a charge of carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle. This was because the Los Angeles Police Department reportedly had trouble finding witnesses who could assist with their investigation. According to several early reports, Megan's injuries were said to have been caused by broken glass rather than a gunshot. However, Megan acknowledged in her video that she didn't inform police what had happened, stating she believed the LAPD to be aggressive, even though she knew the right thing to do was to tell them right away. She went on to say that she was afraid when the police arrived and didn't want to get into trouble with them, especially with Tory in possession of a gun. However, significant progress was achieved on October 8, 2020, when Tory was charged with felony assault and possession of a firearm by the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office. Due to Tory's attorney's involvement in another trial, the trial's initial start date of September 14th was postponed until December 5, 2022. On December 2023, Tory was found guilty on all 3 of the charges related to the 2020 shooting. On September 14th, his application for bond was denied, and he was formally sentenced to prison. During his sentencing, Tory spoke for a number of minutes. Regardless of how Megan may be feeling about him, he referred to her as his friend. He also spoke about how they had bonded over the years over their mother's demises. Megan, who was not physically present in the court for Tory's sentencing, in a written statement, stated that Tory should be made to face justice and the full ramifications of his horrible deeds. The rapper was to receive a heavy sentence according to the prosecutors, as they stated that Tory made false claims on social media to sway public opinion against Megan and started a campaign to rubbish and re-traumatize her. In the meantime, Tory's attorneys recommended rehabilitation over jail time. But when Judge Hereford heard testimonies and saw the petition written for the defendant, as well as the report about the rapper's battles with alcohol, childhood trauma, and mental health, the case took a new turn. Tory should be eligible for parole in November 2029, which means he can present his case to the parole board for early release. He'll be one step closer to being sent back to Canada if he's approved. It's important to realize, nevertheless, that this is not a date of automatic release. Here's where it gets fascinating though. Tory has a strong chance of being released if he knows what the parole boards require from anyone requesting early release: remorse and an admission of guilt. Before the parole board, Tory will have to confess to shooting Megan and express regret for his deeds. Given his addiction to flaunting himself, this will be difficult for him. Also, Tory will surely be questioned about his Instagram post in which he claimed he had nothing to apologize for. Beyond that, he cannot blame his social media manager, particularly if the post remains on his social handle in 2029. Early release for Tory is unlikely unless there's sincere regret and an admission of guilt. Outside the courthouse, Tory's lawyer, Jose Baez, told reporters that the sentence was extreme and they would appeal. He went on to say that Tory didn't receive the sentencing they had hoped for, but rather that it was extremely punitive. He continued by saying that Tory's not being used as an example because he's a human being, and he added that it was just another instance of someone being punished for being a celebrity and used as a scapegoat. Tory's attorney stated that they will appeal to the court, adding that Tory got depressed and saddened by the thought of spending less time with his son while he's serving his term. Tory has not provided interviews regarding his detailed version of the events of the night of the incident, nor did he testify during the trial. However, Tory said to Megan in his rap song that if Megan got shot from behind, how come she could identify him? Additionally, during closing statements, Tory's attorney George Megdison told jurors that Megan had lied to garner attention, asserting that the prosecution's case was rife with gaps and conjecture. Mr. Megdison further stated that Tory's admission that he had slept with both women was the reason behind the altercation that took place in the car that evening between Megan and her friend Miss Harris. He also stated that the case had more to do with sexual affairs and jealousy. This case has brought to light the many ways that our society has to make adjustments for women, said Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon, whose office prosecuted this case in a statement following the sentencing. Additionally, he claimed that Tory displayed a pattern of behavior towards Megan over the previous 3 years that was meant to scare Megan and prevent her from speaking up. He went on to say that because they're too frequently disbelieved, women, particularly black women, are scared to disclose crimes like assault. Megan endured months of intensive investigation and court hearings. She had to relive her trauma and the ensuing public attention. He continued by praising her for her extraordinary bravery and vulnerability. Not only that, the rapper's family members were among the witnesses brought by the defense to speak on his behalf during the hearing. Sonstar Peterson, Tory's father, made an emotional plea to the judge on his son's behalf, explaining how music became Tory's outlet and the anguish he endured following the death of his mother when he was a young boy. Tory is an amazingly supporting father, according to his son's mother, Raina Chesang, who urged the judge to be forgiving in order to break the generational curse of black dads who were imprisoned away from their kids. It was obvious that they didn't make much difference. What would life be like for Tory in prison? Tory fears for his safety and life while incarcerated. His famous status makes him feel like a direct and immediate target as he's currently incarcerated in Delano, California at North Kern State Prison. According to TMZ, the facility is said to house about 4,000 convicts, many of whom died this year alone. To make it worse, Ramon Escobar, a serial killer, was charged in February with the murder of Juan Villanova, his cellmate. Juan had been imprisoned for serious child sexual assault. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation is currently looking into Ricardo Saldivar's death as a homicide after he was discovered dead in his cell. According to reports, several prisoners have escaped throughout the years despite the prison's perimeter being surrounded by an electric fence. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.